He should send help from his holy chamber. It's in the base of Mikdash. You should recall your devotional offerings. What's an offering? You took your money, you bought an animal, you took it to Hashem and say, please Hashem, accept this and atone and forgive me for my misgivings. Otherwise, people, why should we bring offerings? Why are we bringing offerings? Does Hashem care for your offering? No, He cares for what's in your heart. What's in your heart is your feelings of regret and strong decisions not to make any more mistakes, but to faithfully carry out what is expected of you. We ask Hashem to remember the offerings that we brought, animal offerings, burnt offerings, flower offerings. We couldn't afford big animals. Hashem should grant to you that which is in your heart, the good things that are in your heart. And He should enable you to fulfill all your good resolutions. Let us rejoice in your salvation, Hashem. And we'll raise the banner of Hashem on high. You imagine this picture of this American soldiers in the Second World War raising the flag. That's what it's taught. That's what it says. We're going to raise the flag of Hashem. Where do flags come from? You know where flags come from? Come from the Torah. It says that the Jewish people were divided into 4 camps and 12 tribes. Every tribe had a flag. I forget which comes first. Did the angels have flags and they were jealous of and the Jews wanted to have them as well? Or was it the other way around? The Jews had flags and the angels were jealous. That's where the whole concept of flags, national flags, comes from. Let us rejoice. Bishu asecha in your salvation, Hashem. Ub'shem Eloheinu nidgel. Yamale Adonai, Hashem should fulfill all your heart's requests. Ata Yodaiti. Now I know. Ki Heshia Adonai Mashiach. Hashem saves His anointed one. The anointed one is the king, the leader, the tzaddik of the generation. Moshe Rabbeinu, the generation. Ya'aneu Mishmei Kodshe. He answers him from His highest holy heavens. The Gevures with might, strength, salvation, Yesha Yemine, from His right hand. Our enemies may come in chariots or tanks or infantry, basusim. A sus is a horse. I once read a story about a Jew who had a horse which he named Sus. Come on, Sus, he would say. Sus is a horse. Vela Basusim, they come with their infantry, with their cavalry. Cossacks came with their cavalry. And they killed a lot of our people. Hundreds, thousands of them. Vicious murderers. B'Shem Adonai Eloheinu Nazkir. When we come with the name of God on our lips, Hema Karu v'Nafalu, they slipped and fell. V'Anachnu Kamnu v'Nis Eidad, and we stood up, and we are stalwart, enduring, and strong. Adonai Hishem Melech Yoneinu V'Yem Kareinu. Hashem, deliver us from our enemies. May the King answer us on the day that we call. Who are our enemies? Our enemy is the Yetzer Hara. Okay, chapter 14, new chapter in Tanya. That's the last thing that we were learning, a very important principle about the great chain of creation, like a chain of links. Just a quick review of this concept. If the highest point of creation is called Chachma, that's Chachma. This is the highest power of the intellect, which is translated as wisdom. When Hashem reveals himself to you, that revelation come into you, it will be received in your brain quality called Chachma. It's like if you have a tall building here in Manhattan, and on the building you have a metal thing sticking up. It's called a lightning rod, so that when lightning strikes, it's going to hit this rod, and it's not going to hit the building, so the building won't go up in fire. The lightning is a negative charge. It's seeking to unite. That's what I learned in high school, junior high school. It's seeking to nullify this negative charge, and the earth is full of the opposite, which is a positive charge. So it's seeking to get together there and to take the fastest route possible, which is down through the building. So let's hit the lightning rod and not hit the building, because the building will go up in fire. That's what causes a lot of these forest fires and so on. So when in an initial intellectual level, when this happens, the Hashem sends you an idea, it hits you in your place of inspiration, which is called Chachma. Chachma is the word Chachma is made of two words, which are koach, or right the way we say it, koyach. Koyach, ma. What is ma? Ma means what? Anybody know what means? What means I don't know. What means I don't know what this is. Happy birthday, dear. Thank you. We remember. Koyach ma. Ma is a statement of the unknown. What is your name? What is your name?
Rosie.
Rosie. Okay. Should have a rosy day.
Thank you, all of us.
So, what is a statement of the unknown? So, Chachma is the power to realize the unknown. Koyach ma, or in other terms, ma means the whatness, the inner whatness of a thing. What makes it what it is? We don't know. It's an inner mystery in creation. So, where does life appear? It appears on this level of the potential of creation, the potential of being. Koyach ma. Okay. So this is let's say this is the very highest level. But there is a level higher than this. Because wisdom is the highest intellectual level, but there's something higher than wisdom. A person doesn't have wisdom, he could acquire it. How can you acquire wisdom? How? And the answer is, if you really want. Now, this is something I didn't learn in a book. I learned it in my life experience. When I was in school, there was a boy, I lived in a dormitory, and there was a boy in the dorms. He was a simple boy. Simple. He was simple-minded. He was not capable of complex thinking. And he took upon himself to learn the most difficult course that the university had to offer. Why what made it so difficult? It wasn't that it was complex, it was voluminous. It was a tremendous amount of reading that he had to do. And it was history. We all know from our experience, history is the course where you have to read tons and tons of books. And he took upon himself to learn this. I wonder how's he ever going to make it? And he spent so much time in his room learning and studying, and he barely scraped through first year. Barely. He got like a C minus. Just barely passing. 50 was passing, he got maybe 55. So they pushed him up to the next year. Then he kept on slugging away at his work, and the next year he graduated with a C, worked his way up to a C. Not a great intellectual achievement, but it was an achievement. And he kept on going like that. And eventually he graduated with a C plus maybe, or a B minus. But I learned a lesson from that, which is that if you really want to do something, you can get it. And that power of desire is called ratzoin. The word for it in Hebrew is ratzoin. Ratzoin means willpower. And by dint of willpower, you can achieve wisdom if you really want. And the saying from the Talmud is, nothing stands in the way of a strong desire. Ratzin. Ratzin will overpower everything. So even simple people, if they want to be great, they can achieve greatness. And sometimes if they resort to ruthless behavior, they can be really great. That's an unhappy principle of life, that people who desire to have great power usually achieve it through being ruthless. And Hashem makes them great, and then he brings them down. Okay? So this is the power of Ratzon is even higher than Chachma. So, but since Chachma is the highest power of the intellect, this is where intellect begins in Chachma, and then it goes down into Bina. So Chachma is inspiration. That flash. Oh wow! Why not? How come I never thought of this by myself? Just you experience a moment of inspiration. Where did it come from? Maybe it came from your great-great-grandmother. She went to Hashem and said, Hashem, I have a great-great-granddaughter. She's a good girl. You have to help her out. And suddenly, you meet somebody who tells you about coming to the Mochon Yadus, and you say, you know what? It's not for me, but I'll give it a try. That's what they all say. They end up staying a few years. They get married and have a family. That's it, the inspiration. So inspiration, where does it come from? It comes from something higher than intellect. Okay. But then you can't hold it. It's just like a lightning flash. You see it's flat, you see the flash in the sky, and it's gone. What was it? How did it look? How big was it with it? You don't know, you can't, because it's gone. So similarly, the inspiration from Ratzon is just a flash. But you desire to grasp it, to hold on to it, that takes place in Bina. Bina, we call it understanding. So Bina stands under Chachma. Bina analyzes and quantifies measures and so on, compares the inspiration. And then comes Das. After Bina comes Das. Das is knowledge. What is knowledge? Knowledge is how you integrate the idea into your whole system. And how you translate it into things that you like and things that you don't like, things that you're going to do and things that you're not going to do. Das. The right side is things you love, and the left side is things that you're not for me. Thank you. Limitation. Left side is imitation, right side is love, flow. I want to do it. I want to be connected with it. That's love. Okay, so that's why, like the tefillin, you see the tefillin go on top of the head, they circle around to the back of the head here, and then there's a knot in the tefillin, and then the knot comes down on the right side and on the left side, which is Ava and Yira, fear and love. And they're all in Das. Das is knowledge. Knowledge means connection, and unification. As in what it says in the Bible, Adam knew Chava. Knowledge. They have children. Unification. Okay? So how does it work? We'll go over this again. If this is a level called Chachma, the highest level of Chachma here is the very highest level, right? Like on the flower, on the fruit. Okay. Ratzoin is going to come, it's going to attach itself there. It's going to hit, this is the lightning rod, the very top of Chachma. But then the levels of Chachma until we get to the bottom level of Chachma. The bottom level of Chachma is going to become the highest level of Bina. So this is Chachma, and this is Bina. So the lowest level of Chachma becomes the highest level of Bina, of understanding. And then we process it. And we break it down into data. And then when we've broken it down into data structures, so the lowest level of Bina becomes the highest level of Das. And the lowest level of Das becomes the highest levels of Chesed, which is love, and Gevura, which is strength. Gevura. And similarly, the lowest level of Chesed will become the highest level of Gevura, and the lowest level of Gevura will become, and the lowest level of both of them, they will merge, and they will become Tiferes, which was the concept, the umbrella concept of this last week. And then from Tiferes, it's going to break up again into Netzach, which this week is the week of Netzach, and Hoy. What is Netzach? What is Hoy? It's not. We learned all this in chapter 3, but a lot of new students are doing so. To briefly go over it again. Netzach and Hoy. Netzach means get it done, get it done, get it done. We used to have people calling in the office. They would come in after hours, and they would do telephone marketing. And there was this one fellow. He was like middle-aged, pushing in his 50s, pushing 60 maybe. So he was doing this, I guess, to earn a few dollars. And he was very motivated. And when he would get a refusal, he wouldn't get dejected. He would fight against being upset. And he used to sit in his office and pretend like he was in a football game. He said, push him back, push him back, push him way back. He would sit in his office pushing, urging himself on, push him back, push him back, push him way back. That's Netzach. Overcome. We will overcome, yeah. Netzach is pushing through, not admitting any obstacle to stop you. Nothing's going to stop me. So Netzach obviously is the place where Ratzoin will express itself in action. And it comes from Chesed, because I love this thing so much, I must be victorious. I must win. I must win. Okay, so Netzach is getting it done. Netzach means getting it done. I have a project, gonna get it done. But it's immense. I got 35 pages. It has to be just a 3-page essay, not 30 pages. You have to cut, you have to refine, you have to precise, you have to get rid of any repetitions, you have to make sure that the ideas are clear. It's like cutting a diamond. You can have a big, huge diamond, but no one's going to buy it if it's not shiny and bright. So making it shiny and bright and clear, that's Hoy. In other words, Netzach means getting it done. Hoy means getting it done right. And then you read it like a poem or something, and you think, wow, that's so nice. You don't understand how much thought and how much work went into getting it right. A Jewish poet from Montreal, Leonard Cohen, said he passed away just not so long ago. It was said of him that he became very successful. He found favor in the eyes of the celebrities in Hollywood, and he said that he wrote music, so his poetry became very often popular love songs, and he said he could revise a poem hundreds of times. They get better and better and better. So many factors go into it. That's the amazing thing about the Torah, It's so amazingly full of meaning, and the Hoy is the glory of the Torah. Hoy is glory, the glory of the kings, the Hoy. You see, our king is beautiful. The king is beautiful. Remember one time on Yud Shvat, which is the day of the Friedrich Rebbe's Histalkus, when he left physically, and it's the day when our Rebbe, Melech Mashiach, took over, continued the job. So people asked him, what's this all about? He said, it's the same soul in a different body. He was totally unified, connected with his father-in-law. Yeah. So there was a big Farbrengen on this day. It was always a big Farbrengen. And people came from all over. There were thousands of Hasidim and dignitaries and politicians and rich people all came to honor the Rebbe. Many of them came with gifts. And then everybody was waiting for the Rebbe to come in. The place was jam-packed. And he came in. It was gorgeous. Where the Rebbe came in. Unbelievable. And there was a guy standing beside me. He was a dear friend. I knew him from earlier days. A rabbi, he's a chief rabbi now in Australia. So I said, here, come, stand beside me. I let him right in. The Rebbe came in that moment. He said, there's no doubt about it. We have a gorgeous Mashiach. That's Hoy. Hoy, it's the glory of the king. Doesn't come out of nowhere. So what's the idea? The idea is that the lowest level of any point in the chain becomes the highest level of the next one down and the next link down. You go down and down and down and down and down. The next two levels, just to complete this whole idea, is Yesod, which is translation as the foundation. Like the foundation, you build a house, you lay the foundations. That's the Yesod, the house. So these two come together. So we have this idea of two opposites coming together. Again, two opposites coming together, two opposites coming together. Yesod means communication. Communication. Relating to your audience. Some people have so many wonderful ideas and they have no friends. And nobody wants to listen to them. Nobody wants to relate to them because they're just in themselves. Every person advertising knows you have to know who's your audience. You have to speak to your audience, to their needs, to their desires, in their language. Okay, that is just Yesod is communication, symbolized by, like when parents go to sleep at night and they wake up when the baby is crying and the mother turns to her husband and says, "Can you get the baby, please?" Communication. Loving communication. Okay, and then the bottom is Malchus. Malchus is the whole thing, all put together. Malchus is the kingdom, the kingship, family. The family itself. It's Malchus, the king. A king without a kingdom, he's not a king. Okay? So this is the fundamental principle that we were learning yesterday that we have to, and that's why we concluded with this idea that since the lowest level contains that which comes next, so it's possible to say that as we get down here, like to lower levels here, so like this level of Tiferes is going to contain and give over life energy to all the other levels that come after it. Or the lowest level of Malchus, right? We got down to the lowest level of Malchus, that's going to give over all the energy for, let's say, this Malchus of Bria, the world of creation, right? First you have the world of Tzilus, then we have the world of creation, and then we have the world of forms. So the lowest level, which is Malchus of Bria, is going to be the highest level of the world of Yetzirah, which is forms. We move from creation, the concept of creation, to the idea of each individual creation, the form that the creation is going to take, the form of the table, the form of the chair. Until there's a form of a chair, we can't manufacture chairs. Everything has to have a spiritual source, spiritual form. And then we follow the spiritual form, we make it. That's in the world of action. Okay. So comes out that if this lowest level, we're going to call that Malchus. Malchus of this level is like the feet. It's compared to the feet, or even the ankles of that level. But that becomes the source of life, the highest level of the next world down. So this the Malchus of this world becomes Chachma of the next world down. So that's symbolized by the idea that we have these ranks of angels, which are the source of life, tremendous, powerful angels, energy source. We call them angels, and they become the source of life for everything less than them. They have their limit. They can't go beyond their limit, but they are sending life down into lower levels. And that's what's symbolized by the concept that the feet of the angels, like we said yesterday, certain angels have such a revelation of God that they're very excited. Like, remember, I'm sure you've seen this movie, yeah? The symbol of the movie where the lion gives a roar. You saw that? Yeah? Gives a roar. So the lion, they're animals that are like wild animals. A word for wild animal in Hebrew is chaya, or plural chayos, chayos. Above them, they can't go higher than that. That's their level. Their response to godliness is to be very excited. Like before for bringing, when people are pushing to get a good spot, why are they pushing? Why are they behaving like animals? Because they're excited. Their animal soul is very excited. So they behave like animals, pushing my spot. Sometimes tempers flare, people lose control of themselves. That's an animalistic response to the excitement of the moment. But there's higher levels. Some people just sit, they keep on learning, thinking. These are called seraphim, fiery angels. They don't make shh, they're quiet. They serve like the Kohanim and the temple serve in quiet, in silence. Their fire is burning silently in their hearts. Okay, so that's seraphim. And then there's higher and higher and higher. It's infinite. These are all levels of creation. Hashem is beyond creation. These are levels of creation. It's much more. It's infinite. By definition, it's infinite. Okay. So what have we got now? We've got that the lowest level of the highest contains the energy of the whole creation that comes next, comes after them. So that's what it says, that the ankles of the highest weigh against everything else, meaning everything else that's on a lower level. Okay. That's it for today. We got to do something. We have to do something. That was a review of the final lesson of chapter 13, so we can go into lesson 14. Chapter 14, page 209. Very, very important. If all of this seems somewhat overwhelming, and it ought to, so the Alter Rebbe comes to tell us, V'hinei midas haBeinani, that we're talking, where there's the book of the Beinani. This is not the book of the angels. It's not the book of the tzaddikim. You know, there was a book of tzaddikim the Alter Rebbe wrote. It got burned. It was too high. It wasn't for us. Hinei midas haBeinani. Now this level of the Beinani, he midas kol adam. This is a level of every man. Achareha kol adam yamshuch. And after this level, every person is attracted and drawn to try to achieve this. And you can understand this because we've covered this so many times, that the Beinani is not a tzaddik. He's not completely righteous. He has strong negative desires, but he has discipline. He doesn't give them expression. Is he frustrated? No, he's not frustrated, but he's struggling. He's constantly in a state of struggle. Shekol Adam Yachol Li Yesh Beinani, because every person, every single person in this classroom right here has the power to become a Beinani B'chol Eis at any given moment. B'chol Shah, any time. Because the Beinani, here's a key point. The Beinani is not disgusted by evil. He's attracted to evil. Things he would like to do, what would I like to give it to him? Person can fantasize about things that he or she would like to do. And then they say, no, that's not right. Go away. Go away, my fantasy. Go away. I don't want to see you. I don't want to hear about you. And don't come back. But it does come back. If you invite it back in, it's very, very hard to get rid of it. So don't ever invite it back in. Don't take a second look. Remember the story of the guy who came in the middle of the night and the chassid opened the window upstairs. It was raining, it was cold outside. He said, who's there? He says, it's me. He just closed the window and left him standing in the rain. And then afterwards, a week later, he said, why you look so down in the dumps? He says, because I came here for a reason. The Alter Rebbe sent me here. The Rebbe sent me here for a reason, and it's not happening. So what's the reason? He says, how do you control negative thoughts? They jump into your brain. He says, I taught you that the moment you arrived. You did? Yeah, you don't remember? Sure, I remember. You left me standing out in the rain for 20 minutes. It was freezing. So, well, that was the lesson. If you're in control of the house, you let in who you want, when you want. If he comes in, don't blame anybody but yourself. You open the door. Don't open the door for negativity. Don't think there's anything there worth examining or attractive. What does it mean to abhor evil? Well, I'll just give you a couple of examples. Come back to this tomorrow. To abhor evil is when you see something that's so terrible, disgusting, it's revolting. It's revolting. We made jokes about it earlier in the year, right? In Beis Rivka, they misuse the word. They say it's nauseous. It's not nauseous. It makes you feel nauseous. October 7th was nauseous. the terrible things that happened, that they did, just absolutely disgusting, unbelievable, cruelty. We abhor it. That's abhorrent. That's how a tzaddik feels about selfish desires. The tzaddik has no more inclination to do any of the horrible acts that took place on October 7th. Has no more inclination to do that, to indulge in some selfish desire, like Rabbi Gordon says, 7-layer cake. Has no desire, it's abhorrent to him. Or if you want and how can we, to be abhorrent, that means it's an automatic reflex. I just can't stand it. I can't stand it. I can't tolerate, I can't stand it. I'm not putting up with it. I'm not being tested by it. I just can't stand it. We'll come back to this tomorrow. I can give you a few more graphic examples. What it means that you can't stand something. Or on the other hand, that you love something so much that it overpowers any negative circumstance. On the other hand, to respond negatively to a powerful desire, that's the level of a Beinoni. And a good example of that is Joseph, when the wife of Potiphar tried to seduce him. And he almost gave in to her. And at the last minute, he remembered who he was, and he ran away and left his cloak in her arms, in her hands, for which he spent 13 years in jail as a result, because her husband was the chief in charge of the jail. But after that, he rose to be the king of all Egypt. Okay, so that's the power of discipline of the Beinoni. Not to allow yourself to indulge in the desire, in any desire. But the power of a tzaddik is just the idea of being of intimacy with someone else's wife is disgusting, abhorrent. That's what he's talking about. That's the difference between the Beinoni and the tzaddik. And that's what he's saying in the beginning of this chapter, that the power to be a Beinoni is not in our hands. Not in our hands. But the power to be a tzaddik is not in our hands. I'm sorry if I said it wrong. The power to be a tzaddik is not in our hands, but the strength and the power to be a Beinoni is something we can achieve. Everybody, that's the opening line of chapter 14. Everybody can do this. Thank you very much. Somebody can erase all these.
Thank you, Rabbi Pape. Thank you.
Before it gets hot.
Artist.